What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another transfer stream for you guys, and we have our second transfer of the summer signed, sealed and delivered, and that is Fraser Forster. It's obviously no secret. It's been imminent for a number of weeks now, and finally it is over the line. There you see him holding up the Spurs shirt, and the official announcement was Fraser Forster signs for Tottenham Hotspur on a 2-year deal until 2024. We are delighted to announce the signing of Fraser. Welcome to Spurs. And one of the quotes from him is saying, when a team like this comes along, it's impossible to say no. I can't get here fast enough to get it done. Obviously, it ticks a few boxes. It ticks the homegrown quota. It ticks a sub-goalkeeper after letting Galini go, obviously. And I think that, what he showed this season in spurts from when I did see him, especially in that game against Arsenal, and I believe a game against Man City as well. He performed really well, and I think he'll be good as a backup keeper, and I believe he probably is better than Galini.
And against us as well. In fact, when we drew 1-1 at St Mary's last season, that game when Southampton went down to 10 men, Forster made 10 saves in that game, which is more than any other keeper made in any Premier League game the whole of last season. So he definitely has pedigree against us. And he helped us get top 4 before even joining us. So that's a massive positive. Do I think he's better than Galini? It's hard to say, because Forster's done well this season. But it's a bit of a weird one with Forster, because he joined Southampton about in like 2014-ish, around that time, for decent money, like 12 million from Celtic, and he was quite good at Celtic as well. And then he was in the team for a few years, and then he got dropped for a while. He was out the team. And I think Alex McCarthy was playing. You got Gunn. I can't remember his first name, but you got Angus Gunn. He was playing for large spells, but he did fight his way back into the team.
Celtic as well, didn't he?
And he went back on loan to Celtic for a bit. But then he came back and he fought his way back into the team. And last season he was their number one. So it was a bit of a strange one with Fraser Forster. We're going to get a Southampton fan on shortly. He'll give us more to tell us more about him. But I think as backup keepers go, he's got Champions League experience. He's got, I think, maybe one cap for England. I think he has. I'm pretty sure. And maybe
he's actually had a few more caps for England. He's had about 6 caps for England.
Okay, 6 caps for England. Not too many, but he's had a fefew caps. Got Premier League experience.
All in friendlies, albeit.
Yeah, homegrown. So I think it's a transfer that makes sense, and he's in good form as well. 6'7" or so. He's a giant goalkeeper. Yeah. Really, really big. So I think it's a transfer that makes sense for all parties.
I agree, and he looks like, from what I've seen from the outside looking in, he looks like a good character to have around, and obviously been around the block a few times. So yeah, I'm happy with the signing. Obviously, it's just a sub keeper, so it's nothing really to get too excited about. But it's a position that we needed, homegrown quota. And let's go and have a look how Spurs announced the transfer and see a few other various tweets going around Twitter about the signing.
Yeah, so let's bring on the phone. All right, so Spurs, this is how Spurs announced the transfer on Twitter. Very lovely stuff. There's Fraser Forster. And then, there you go. We're delighted to announce the signing of Fraser Forster. Welcome to Spurs, Fraser. And they had a few more shots of him. Well, hashtag welcome Forster. That's Spurs there on social media, getting good reactions there. And he had a message for the fans as well. I don't know if you can hear this. He had something to say. He's delighted to join Tottenham Hotspur. Absolutely fantastic stuff. But he does replace one character in Galini, who was known to be a very good influence in the dressing room. But unfortunately, he's no longer going to be part of the squad. But hopefully, Forster can kind of take the reins on that front and be that character that maybe Galini was. Because Galini got on very well with a lot of the players. And I think Forster will probably know a few of the English lads. But hopefully that could play a part into his influence in the dressing room. He says, when a team like this comes along, yeah, as you said, it's impossible to say, no, I couldn't get here fast enough to get it done. So it's very, very exciting in that sense. And he seems to be happy with the move. I think at his stage of a career, when you got a chance to join a club like Spurs, it's no surprise that he jumps with a chance. You heard Ben Foster talking about how he would be really happy to be a number 2 at someone like Arsenal and know his role, and maybe Fraser Forster sees himself like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's coming towards the end of his career now, Fraser Forster, and I think like if he can, like to work under Antonio Conte late in his career, for the career he's had, he would never be in this kind of position. You know, working under Antonio Conte, a team fighting for Champions League, maybe more in the Champions League. I mean, it's a first for him in his career. So obviously he was playing in the Champions League for Celtic, but it's not the same. So I think that it's definitely a good step for him in his career, and maybe his experience, he can teach a few of the younger generation coming through a bit of experience, maybe the goalkeepers coming through the ranks as well in the academies. So, yeah, I think it's good for all parties that he has signed, and I don't envisage him getting much game time. Do you see him playing maybe in the early stages of the cups and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because a lot of obviously the number 2, a lot of the number 2 keepers in the other clubs, they play a lot of games. You know, you got to just look at City and Liverpool and Chelsea. The number 2 keepers play all the cup games and a few Champions League games as well. So I do expect him to play some cup games. I do. But when it gets, surely when it gets to semi-finals, finals, Lloris has to be the one in goal. But I do expect him to play quite a lot of the cup games. And if Conte goes the way of what Pep and Klopp do, then I do expect he could even be playing finals, because you know you see Kelleher and you see Stefan play in the cup finals and semi-finals for the big clubs. So it's very possible you could be seeing Fraser Forster on these big occasions potentially. You obviously would hope that Lloris gets picked just because he's been there for so long. So I'm assuming if we get to a final, Lloris will play. But judging by what other clubs do, it's very possible he could be playing in the big games. Interestingly, in 134 Premier League appearances, he's kept 42 clean sheets, which is fairly impressive. I think that's still not a bad ratio. 42 clean sheets in 134 games. For Southampton, it's not bad.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. But, you know, a lot of different moving parts, not just him that keeps those clean sheets. But, yeah, definitely impressive. And like I said, look, I'm happy to get him through the door. Now we just need to keep focusing on different targets. Defender next, hopefully. Left centre-back next. And we say where we go, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Have we looked through everything on Twitter and stuff like that?
Yeah, not everything. Not everything. There's also one more video I want to bring up, and this is Celtic fan. I'm not sure where they are. I don't know if you can hear it. Let me know in the comments if you can hear this, because it's a very funny song made of Fraser Forster. Oh, I have to charge my phone. This is brilliant. No, they can't hear it. Why can't they? Oh, one sec. What about now? Can you hear it now? One sec. No, they can't hear it. Oh, anyway, they can't hear. We have.
Either way, go to our like tweets on Twitter. You'll be able to see it. But it's very funny. A lot of, it looks like school kids or something singing some sort of Fraser Forster song.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Stuart Davidson says he can hear. I don't know. I think he's lying. All right. So I think our Southampton fan might be ready. Let's go through a few more liked tweets before we get him on. Fraser Forster here, according to Who Scored. 10 saves in Southampton's 1-1 draw against Tottenham in December. No goalkeeper made more saves in a Premier League match last season. If you can't beat them, sign them. And obviously, he had that brilliant man of the match performance against Arsenal back in, I think it was April. So that did actually go a long way to securing Tottenham a top 4 place.
Yeah, it did.
It
did, and I was very, I was shouting his name from the rooftops after that game. How many point blank saves did he make that day?
Yeah, loads. So really impressive.
Yeah, very happy. But I think it's time to bring on our guest, who will know a bit more about Fraser Forster than we do. And let's bring him on. His name is Saint Rob.
That's his Twitter handle. Let's get him on.
Hi, Rob. How's it going, my friend?
Hi, guys. Sorry. in the office, so if a train goes past, I apologise.
No problem at all. Obviously, there's been some more business between our clubs now. Fraser Forster adds to the long list of players that have joined Tottenham from Southampton. Fraser Forster now, I mean, he broke back into the first team for you guys last season. Tell me a bit about Fraser Forster. Why was he dropped first and foremost? How did he get back in the side, and where do his strengths lie?
So it's really an interesting story with Fraser, because he's been sent out on loan to Celtic twice since we had him. Obviously, he was our first team keeper during the really good Europa League seasons of 14-15 and 15-16. He ended up picking up a really bad knee injury in 15-16 that left him out for a year. And kind of ever since then he got sent out on loan to Celtic. But he has been, for the last 8 years, consistently our number one. When he came back into the side from that Celtic loan, he was up against Alex McCarthy for competition. And the dynamic between those two was really interesting last season, because Ralph wanted to keep them both as number ones. It doesn't make any sense to me either, but basically he was always up against McCarthy for this number one jersey. And I don't know if you guys saw a game back in December, it would have been early December, against Leicester. We conceded a 98th minute equaliser. That was due to Alex McCarthy not commanding his box. He was actually injured, but he didn't tell our team on the sidelines, for example. And ever since then, Fraser Forster's been our number one. It's really unfortunate to see him go. Rumours are that McCarthy signed a new contract back in November, and it hasn't been announced, with both of their contracts supposed to expire this summer. And because Fraser's on a lot higher wage, it looks like we've decided to let him go. But it's not what the fans want at all. I'll tell you that. Not what they want at all.
Wow. Okay, so you're actually disappointed that Fraser Forster is leaving Southampton, and do you definitely think he's good enough to be your number one still?
Oh, yeah, he's good enough to be our number one. I mean, Alex McCarthy is completely dreadful. He has a 40% save percentage this season. I think Fraser's about 65, which still isn't insane, but for our defence, I think that's pretty good. Personally, obviously, we want to sign a new keeper this summer to be our number one. I'd have loved to keep Fraser as a number two and have them to rotate sometimes. But I don't think any Saints fan can really explain it. It's really a baffling decision.
Wow, that's actually not good to hear for you, but good to hear for me in terms of him coming to Spurs.
Yeah,
but I'm hearing
he's a good character. Yeah. He's a good character, but I think it ended on bad terms with the club, because I don't know if you guys have seen his Instagram, but he's deleted every single Saints post on there. He's unfollowed the club already. So it's just something must have happened behind the scenes. And I don't think it's a lose-lose situation for him. It's a lose-lose situation for the club and McCarthy, because McCarthy knows that for some reason the club aren't announcing his new contract. The fans want Fraser to stay because he's so much better than McCarthy. And then obviously it's a win for you guys, I guess, at the end of the day, isn't it?
So you would say Forster's troubles of sustaining that number one spot and the reasons why he got sent on loan were all due to injury? That was the main issue he had. It wasn't due to maybe him being poor when he was picked or anything like that.
No. So, sorry, can you repeat the question? That train just went past.
Oh, it's all right. I was saying so you would say that the reasons why Forster was sent out on loan and why he had a bit of trouble sustaining a a number one spot in the team was more down to his injuries rather than actually his performances.
It was also confidence. So it's been a massive rumour a couple of years ago in the Saints community about Fraser Forster's mental health. Now, I don't want to say anything because we don't know if it's true. It's never been confirmed. But after his injury, he went through a really bad confidence spell. It was actually when you beat us on Boxing Day, 6-1 or something. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, his confidence just fell off a cliff. So he got sent out on loan to Celtic to kind of regain that confidence. I think he won a couple of trophies there that season, and then obviously he was a new man when he came back to the club. So he wasn't sent out on loan because of it was performance based, but I think it was more just of a confidence booster. And to be fair, he came back and it worked. He was great.
Interesting. I mean, where would you say his strengths and weaknesses lie as a goalkeeper?
Great shot stopper, really good shot stopper. He's good at claiming crosses, commanding his area. He's decent at. His main weakness is going to be distribution. He is not very good at kicking a football. I'll tell you that much. But he's good at claiming crosses and everything. But his yeah, his long balls forward or his passing. All you have to do is go on YouTube, watch the highlights from when we lost to Watford at home. You'll just see what I mean. But continuously kicking the ball out of play, yeah, that's his main weakness. But to be fair, all you need in it, well, he's going to be a cup keeper for you, I assume. So all he's going to need is decent shot stopping capability, and he's got that, no problem. And he's got a decent save percentage for penalties as well. I think 25%, which is not too bad. Not too bad.
And obviously he's a giant of a keeper, isn't he? He's like 6'7", is he? 6'6"?
Yeah.
He's like really, really
Huge.
tall. But some people say that being one of his biggest strengths is also, in a weird way, one of his biggest weaknesses, due to the fact because he's so big, sometimes he can struggle to get down low quickly when shots are kind of maybe by his side, very down low, low shots like in the corners and stuff. Is that something you've seen, or is that not true?
Yeah, I mean, so because he is so tall. I remember in the past he used to struggle to get down. But I mean, for example, if you look at, I'm sure everyone's seen the saves he made against Arsenal at home a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
just fantastic, right? There's one for Smith Rowe, which is right down to his bottom left, and he gets there no problem. Because he is so tall, it does take him a little bit longer to get down. But to be honest, I wouldn't say it's a severe weakness than any other keeper. He's good with his saving with his feet as well, so he can kind of throw those big limbs about a bit more. But no, I mean overall, yeah, I wouldn't say it's a main weakness. The main strength of that being he's really good at claiming crosses.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good. Word which Hugo, maybe as some people say, that's one of his big weaknesses.
He has got better in it recently, though.
Well, definitely, that's true. So you would, so as if you were a Tottenham fan, you know, I think the main issue, I guess, or worry for Tottenham fans is if Lloris gets a big injury or something, or if Forster has to come in the cup games, should we be concerned, or should we be worried that he's going to drop a clanger, or he's going to do something which maybe which would get us concede a goal or something like that? Would you say to Tottenham fans not to worry? He's a very solid keeper, and he should do a good job when called upon.
A solid keeper, but you have to remember where you bought him from. You bought him from Saints, so he's a Saints keeper, like quality wise. He does make mistakes. Watford at home, big one. You've also got I think it was Everton. I can't remember which game it was. Basically, I think it was against you guys. He went up for the ball, dropped it, hit the back of his heel, went in the net.
Yeah, and then he got given a foul. He got given a foul.
Yeah.
I remember that. We're still angry about that, even now.
Yeah, no, that literally, I was like, right. I'm a season ticket holder. I was right in front of me. And I was like, but no, it is. Yeah, so he does make the odd mistake, but I think with a 66% save percentage against in a really poor defense like ours, you can't get much better than that, to be honest. I think if he's coming in for a cup game or just a few games, I wouldn't worry. He's going to make the important saves, in my opinion. He's going to be commanding. He's going to be nowhere near Lloris, of course, but he'll do a shift for you. Yeah, no problem.
Don't worry, Rob. He'll feel right at home when we start singing "Oh, when the Spurs go marching in."
I'm sure that old pirated song. Yeah.
No, but Rob, I'd just like to say thank you so much for coming on and giving us your insight into Fraser Forster. Our opinions here is that, we're happy with the signing, him as backup keeper. It helps us very much with the homegrown quota, and I believe that Southampton are looking at getting in Gavin Bazunu from Manchester City, I believe.
Yeah, so Bazunu. So I know quite a few journalists and whatnot. Bazunu is something which we're trying to get done, which is weird because he's a skate. He's a Pompey fan. Sorry, not a fan, an ex-Pompey player. The only problem with that is money. So we're really broke. That's the key thing about. I think that's one of the reasons why they decided to let Forster go. It's because he was on such a big wage. So back in 2015, we offered Forster 80k a week for 7 years. A ridiculous contract, right? And because of that, it's just taken up so much of our wage bill. We're a really small club money-wise. But I think Bazunu would be a good addition to our squad. Very young, got really high sell-on potential, really, really nice stats back in League One. But yeah, whether that's a loan or a purchase, we don't know. But you guys have to get me back on this when you sign Prowsey later on in the summer. So,
how much? A chance of that? Yeah. How much can we expect for a Prowse transfer?
What I've been told is 65 million. That's the key. That's so basically he signed a contract last summer, and there's no official release clause in there. But from what I've heard, he has like a gentleman's agreement basically with our CEO, saying that 65 million. That's what it would cost. And to be honest,
gentleman's agreement hold no weight. I know that very firsthand from the Harry Kane gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, no, they hold no weight at all. But I mean, as we saw last night, he got no minutes in the England squad last night. I reckon if he played for a big six club, he'd be starting at the World Cup. He's that good. It angers me when I see fans say that Prowsey is just a free kick taker, which he is a great free kick taker. But trust me, if you put him in that midfield with Højbjerg and Bentancur, he'd do bits for you. He's excellent player. But 65 million, boys, nothing less.
Right. You think he's worth it?
To us, 100%. He's basically he's a Southampton player since he was 6 years old. Southampton fan, ex-season ticket holder. He's from the area. He's been with us since we were in League One. He's worth that to us by a country mile. To the importance to the fans, in terms of actually if he's worth it to you, probably not. I'd say he's about a 35 mil player. But to us, with 4 years left on his contract, 65 mil spare, in my opinion.
Would you take Winks in a make weight?
No.
For
No, Winks can genuinely go off to Spain. Like, we don't want anything to do with Winks. Sorry, I know he's like all right, but not for the money you want anyway. Definitely not. No way, man. No, definitely not. No.
Fair enough. As I said, thank you so much for coming on. Really good insight, and hopefully we can meet up again or speak again when we play each other, or hopefully if we sign James Ward-Prowse as well.
Yeah, if you ever down to Southampton, give me a shout, boys. I'll see you later.
Nice one. If anyone wants to find Rob as well, there's his Twitter handle. It's been on screen all video. Is at @SaintRob_. So go check him out on Twitter. And cheers for calling in, mate.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Nice one.
See you later. Yeah, so really interesting there. I wasn't expecting him to be so positive about...
I would have thought Southampton fans might have been not that bothered about seeing the back of him.
When your other option is Alex McCarthy.
I guess. You're like, okay, maybe we should have kept him. But I would have thought, I didn't think, obviously he was number one and he played quite well, especially, as I said, like against Arsenal, he had some really big performances. But I would have thought there would have been a bit, for a 34-year-old keeper, I thought they would have been a bit apathetic about him leaving, but it seems like they really wanted him to stay, which is interesting. But it does also make me think, they said him being on a big wage was a big reason why they let him go. So I wonder how much he's on.
Yeah.
Maybe, but then again, a big wage for Southampton, maybe not as. Maybe not that big for Tottenham.
They said the wage that he was on was 70k or 80k, around that mark.
Was he getting a pay rise? He's on a free. We're paying Fraser Forster 100 grand a week, you reckon?
Nah, I can't see that.
Surely not.
I can't see that.
Surely not. You never know in this day. People in catches getting 100 grand a week.
Yeah, it's true. But we're not Arsenal because Heung-min Son's on 140.
Yeah, true.
So we got a few super chats here. Zeb Ahmed saying, once again, watching Tottenham on a Wednesday night. Anvil with the super chat member for 5 months says he is to Southampton what Kane is to us.
I don't think Forster is, I think.
No, he's talking about James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah. I don't think, I'm not sure Fraser Forster is quite on Harry Kane's level, but it's
neither is
true.
Ward-Prowse, to be honest.
But in terms of his affinity to the club.
Yeah, no.
I would love Ward-Prowse. I think it'd be a great signing, but as Rob was saying, I don't know if we'd stump up the money that they would demand. Maybe there could be a deal to be done, including a few players, but if it's 65 million, I don't think there's any chance. But I think at around
like
50
you said, he's
million,
worth so much more to Southampton than he is to us.
And he just signed a deal last summer. That's the problem, isn't it?
All right, well, that is everything on Fraser Forster. Let's move on and let's get into the real juicy stuff for the stream today. And let's start off with Alessandro Bastoni and a few different updates from him. First of all, there was a quote from him last night after playing in Italy for the Nations League, and he says, I have 2 years on my contract with Inter, so I am relaxed. The club hasn't told me anything. I am just waiting to go on vacation after this and then start pre-season with Inter. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about this quote for ages on social media last night, and I genuinely just don't think there's anything in that quote whatsoever.
You could read that quote any way you want, but there's nothing in it. Look, that's like the classic standard not saying anything quote, pretty much. Not like, I don't think... What's he going to say? There's no deal at the moment that's been done. He's not going to... What's he going to do? Start singing Glory, Glory, Tottenham Hotspur? Like, what like, obviously, he's until a deal has been struck, like, confidently, and he's definitely on his way here, he's never going to say anything. He's always going to, make sure that if he does end up staying, that he's still got a good relationship with Inter Milan.
Especially being an Inter Milan boy as well.
Of course. So, I never expect players is to really say anything on in these
Yeah, I
occasions.
know. I saw the replies under this tweet being like, "Oh, so he's gone then? He's not coming. Let's move on," and all this kind of stuff. It's like, calm down, guys. Like the transfer window hasn't even opened yet.
Exactly.
DiMarzio with the update saying that Antonio Conte's Tottenham have already started contacts with both Inter and Bastoni. For Bastoni, obviously, there is only Tottenham and also Manchester United as of late are interested. Angelo Mangiante, who's an Italian journalist, says Manchester United and Tottenham both preparing to make official bids for Bastoni in the next few days. Graham Bailey of 90 Min, which he's not too reliable.
But he used to work for the Times, and he was reliable then, which is interesting. He used to be tier 1, but then he moved to 90 Min.
And he's moved to tier 5.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know if it's the journalist is good info or it's the publication, you know what I mean?
Yeah, probably the publication in this sense, because I was looking at some of the sources of Graham Bailey and they just didn't look very good.
Fair enough.
And he says Alessandro Bastoni has told Inter he wants to join Tottenham to link up with former manager Antonio Conte. Malik Uzia from the Standard says that Tottenham are confident that they can convince Bastoni to join them. And the latest update is from a chap called Fabio Santini. I'm not sure how reliable he is, but the update is, in the last few hours, there has been renewed talks with Tottenham regarding Bastoni. Inter Milan are now ready to sell the player with Marcos Sensei lined up as a replacement. And I actually heard that update from a different source that Sensei is being lined up to replace Bastoni. So it could have a bit of weight, that one. So after all these kind of various sources, what's your thinking on it all now?
So I think it's going in the right direction. I think it's going to still need some bartering between the two. But I'm getting more and more confident that this deal could definitely happen, because especially with all the news about Inter Milan signing all these different players, signing Bremer and
Lukaku. They're in talks with Lukaku
on a loan deal. They're getting that right back in as well. So I think all that points to definitely they're lining up a sale. If that's and definitely Bastoni is definitely one that can command a good fee, and they can definitely replace him. Having made a profit quite easily. So I think it all makes sense. And the fact that Conte, with his relationship with Bastoni, and the fact that Conte's number one pick is Bastoni as well, leads to a situation where I think there's a decent chance that we get him. I really do. Then again, you never know. We could wake up tomorrow morning, Bastoni signed a new contract. That'll be classic Tottenham. But I think it's moving in the right direction. Obviously, we had Dharma Chef yesterday saying that Tottenham are officially in talks with Inter Milan for Bastoni. So I think it's looking positive at the moment. I don't think Inter Milan would entertain talks unless there was a possibility that they could actually sell him. Doesn't mean they definitely are going to sell him, but it means there is a possibility.
And I think Spurs would have done their due diligence, especially with Conte and Paratici knowing him so well. I don't think they would be focusing on this for too long if there's no inkling that he might, be interested to join Conte.
Exactly. And I think maybe him leaving might be what's best for Inter Milan in their current state, unfortunately, due to their financials. So he might be seen as doing Inter Milan a favour in a weird way. So I don't know. I think this looks positive at the moment. I'm not going to start, putting him in my team just yet on FIFA.
Don't do that until it's signed, sealed and delivered. Have you not learned your lesson?
I said I'm not going to do it. I said I have learned my lesson. But I think it's looking good. We'll have to wait and see what more developments see. But all the developments at the moment, like as of a couple of days ago, everything coming out of Italy was he loves Inter Milan. He's going to stay. He's not going to. Tottenham can't convince him. And now the reports are a bit different. So hopefully, he keeps going in this direction.
All right. Well, that's the Bastoni news. Let's talk about some more defenders now, some alternatives to Bastoni. First up, Pau Torres. As Sky Italia broke last night that Tottenham are working on a deal for Pau Torres, and a move will involve Giovanni Lo Celso going the other way. Obviously, you got to take these kind of things with a pinch of salt as well, because we know how Paratici likes to operate. He likes to do a lot of deals at the same time and then just pick the best one. So that's why you're seeing a lot of kind of defenders and Bastoni kind of alternatives.
Yeah, I would definitely see him as an alternative to Bastoni, not an addition. I don't think, a lot of people saying we need Bastoni and Pau Torres. The only thing is we have Ben Davies at the moment. So obviously he's a very adequate backup left centre-back. And then, so if we're signing another centre-back, it's probably going to be in competition for Eric Dyer. Now, do I want Bastoni or Pau Torres in the centre of a of a defensive three, I don't know. Especially Pau Torres, who aerially isn't the greatest, and I think it's very important for the person who plays in the centre to be very aerially dominant, because they can, especially their leadership skills. I think it's more important than the other centre backs to be as aerially dominant, as we've seen with Davis and Romero aren't the best in the air, but Dyer is, so, and that's what makes it work. So I don't know if signing both of them is, unless Bastoni can play in the centre and Pau Torres on the left, maybe that's something we can look at. But I think Bastoni's best strengths are him moving forward and his ability to attack and become an extra player going forward and stuff like that, and his link up with the players on the left hand side. So you want him on the left, really, and I think it's the same with Pau Torres. You want him on the left hand side, so I definitely see him as a alternative. But if Bastoni doesn't work out, I think using Lo Celso as a make-way and bringing in Pau Torres could definitely be a good option for us.
I completely agree. I mean, I like Pau Torres every time I've seen him play. I think he's a very good player. But there are kind of reservations with every player. You never know how they're going to settle down in the Premier League and stuff like that. But in terms of like the names that are being linked with us for that position, I'm happy. Because, we've seen it before where we've been linked with just names that you just don't want at the football club. And if we can't get an Alessandro Bastoni, your players like Pau Torres, Sven Botman's, Gvardiol, all three of them would be adequate replacements for Bastoni, in my opinion. Yeah,
and I think that's good that we've got some good targets lined up there, and then we're not just like before. It feels like we're getting like we have a target. We spend so long on like basically not really going for him, and then it falls through, and then we're like scrambling. So I'm happy that this time it seems like we've got some good ones lined up.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about the next one, and that is Sven Botman. And we got an update from DiMarzio last night as well, saying Sven Botman is on Tottenham's list for a left-sided centre-back this summer. Man United are also among the clubs who have a strong interest in Sven. Lille want a fee of around 40 to 45 million euros for the defender. Sven Botman obviously was heavily linked with AC Milan. I'm not sure what happened with that deal, but he's been, one of the biggest, one of the best centre-backs in in the French league for about a couple of years now. And we were linked with him last summer, I believe, or was it in January? I can't remember when. And he's another player who I'd like to see through the door, but I think I would like to see probably a Gvardiol or a Bastoni before him.
Yeah, for me as well, I think Botman might be more suited to play. It's a bit different with Botman, actually. I would not.
He's good in the air, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd rather be him being in the centre than on the left. Not just because he's good in the air, but because I do have reservations about his turn of pace. And when you're playing on the wide centre-back role, you need to be good out in wide areas, and I would worry about him there. However, if he plays in the centre role, he has that protection around him. You don't have to be the quickest to play in that centre role. For example, like Thiago Silva, he plays in the centre of the three for Chelsea because he's got the protection from the outside centre-backs. So that's a role I could see Botman playing for us. So I don't necessarily think that has to be either or when it comes to Botman. I could see Botman and Bastoni, but then again, it's
you're talking 100 million.
That's the problem, money-wise. So I don't know. I'm not sure where we go after that.
Would you consider bringing in De Vrij maybe for that centre role to challenge Eric Dyer? Because you're talking about a low fee there for De Vrij. I'm hearing from a few Inter Milan fans, in our comments and on Twitter. I haven't really watched him play that much this season, but he has had a bit of a drop-off this year in Serie A. Would he be still someone that you would consider maybe to come in and challenge Dyer for that centre role?
Definitely, because Conte knows him well. He'll know how to get the best out of him, and he brings experience. He brings quality,
leadership as well.
Leadership. So and he plays in the centre. The only thing is, if we buy De Vrij, do we make sure that they don't need the money for Bastoni? You know what I mean?
We have to get Bastoni first, and then De Vrij.
Exactly, that'd be the case. And then again, if we get Bastoni first, is there a need for them to sell De Vrij?
Well, De Vrij's fallen out of favour there a little bit. So with Bremer coming in, I look at Bremer as maybe more of the De Vrij replacement than maybe the Bastoni replacement to sit in the centre.
Depends who they sign to replace Bastoni as well. I don't know. It all gets very complicated, but I would definitely like De Vrij and Bastoni for sure. And then to complement what we already have.
So basically, it's going to take 3 of their back 5 for last season.
They won Serie A. Why not?
Interesting. But that last one we've got is Clement Lenglet of Barcelona. Shai Lugassi is saying that Barca are willing to accept the loan deal for Clement Lenglet, but his wages are a big issue, and a move is very unlikely at this point. And, you know, we were having a bit of a conversation on WhatsApp with a few other guys yesterday about Lenglet. And they were quite positive about bringing him to the club. And I kind of agreed with them. I think that what he's shown in the past, if Conte can get him back to that, then we've got a real player on our hands. But there is reservations because he has a significant drop-off in the last year or two.
Yeah, but yeah, he has. He's still fairly, I think he's 27 now? He's still like a fairly decent age. He's got a World Cup coming up, so he's going to want to prove himself leading up to that. And I think he's got good quality, Lenglet. And I think when he was at his best for Barca, he was a very good centre-back. And I think as well, him playing in the back 3 could definitely work for him, the way he likes to play. So I think Lenglet could be a good option. However, obviously I want Bastoni first, I want Pau Torres first, I want Gvardiol first. These are the options that I want. If none of them materialise, I think Lenglet is a pretty decent fullback option. But then again, his wages are quite high. But again, if it's a 2-year loan deal, then it might be worth it.
Or maybe like a 1-year loan deal with an option to extend it for a year, just to see how he goes.
Yeah, there are worse fullback options I could think of, to be honest. I think it could be a good one.
All right, well, that is the update on the defensive situation at the moment. It seems as though the feeling I'm getting is that Bastoni is progressing quite nicely. So hopefully we won't have to talk about the other ones, because I really think that Bastoni should be our number 1 target. Definitely. And looks like it's moving in the right way. So let's see how it progresses over the next few days. Next up, let's talk about the rest of the transfer stories we've got for you today, starting off with Marcus Rashford, interestingly enough. And Javid Tanganga's agent, Roberto Di Fanti, has claimed that Tottenham recently held talks with Marcus Rashford. He says, but he does go on to say that Man United want between 70 and 80 million for the transfer, which makes the deal seem improbable. And yeah, we may as well just stop talking about it now if they're talking about 70, 80 million for him.
Yeah, we're never going to stump up that cash for him. But I'm actually a fan of Rashford. I know he's been terrible for about 18 months now, but you got to remember where he's at. You know, Man United are just a bit of a shit show at the moment, and he's got a lot of pressure. He's got a lot of pressure around him, and he's being a Man United boy. Coming through the ranks, being supposedly was supposed to be the star boy and stuff like that.
He's got star quality about him, though.
He does.
He really does.
I'm saying that's why he's maybe struggled recently. And he's had his off-pitch things have happened. Obviously, great for him, and feeding the children and stuff like that. It's all fantastic. But he has maybe taken his eye off the ball on the pitch recently. But maybe he needs a move to refocus. And I would definitely take a chance on him, because I think he would be great in our system. I think he'd be very good under Conte. I think he works really hard. He's actually he's got a good attitude, I think, always looking to improve. I think he's got a very good strike on him. But I can't see us spending 70 to 80 million, no chance.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'd like him through the door, but being a Man United boy as well, I think that Ten Hag will probably look at Rashford and seeing that he's the one that maybe he can get a tune out of. So I can't see this being a goer whatsoever.
Yeah, I'd like him, though. I think a lot of people would immediately look at that potential and think, oh, no chance, I don't want him, he's rubbish. But I don't think he's rubbish.
No, I agree with you. Next up, let's talk about Harry Winks, as Matt Law says that Tottenham midfielder Harry Winks is top of Frank Lampard's list of Everton targets, but would be likely to want to take him on a season-long loan ahead of a permanent move, seeing as Everton are in a bit of financial difficulty at the moment. Would you be open to letting Winks go on loan, or you just want to just sell him out?
I think a loan with an option to buy could be good, I think, because at the moment we are going to, as much as I think we value Winks at whatever it is, 20 million, if you want someone like Everton to come in and to pay that money, it's going to be difficult for them without him proving his worth to them. So I think from Everton's point of view, a loan with an option to buy makes most sense. It probably makes sense from Winks' point of view, gives him something to prove going into his next move, as opposed to having that big transfer fee around his neck, or a transfer around his neck, and having to prove himself and being under pressure. He kind of goes into that club knowing that he has to make that year work for him, and has to make sure that he's proving himself to earn the move. So I think it makes sense for me, a loan move.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to it, but I'd prefer just to get him off the books now. But you know what?
In a perfect world,
in a perfect world. But unfortunately, this isn't a perfect world. But I've got to say that I've always hated Frank Lampard, but I'm starting to like him in Everton a bit recently. First of all, they took Dele Alli off our hands when no one else would, and now potentially Winks as well. So any more Deadwood we can shift to Everton.
They're linked to Bergwijn as well.
Yeah, Bergwijn's not so much Deadwood, but I mean, who else can we shift to them? You know, maybe a Joe Rodon or I don't know, someone like that.
Yeah, exactly. See who else? Who
Matt
else you want?
Doherty, Emerson, shift them all out to them.
Be nice. Become a Spurs light.
Yeah. Next up, we've got some quotes from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. They asked him about if he could see Christian Eriksen joining Tottenham this summer. And the quote is, "Of course I can." Then there is the question of whether he himself can. But of course, I can see that Christian can contribute something on that team. It could be fun for all parties. Do you think they've been talking about this in the changing room?
100% they've been talking about it. I have no doubt in my mind that Højbjerg is trying to convince him to come to Spurs. Absolutely no doubt. But it's all about Eriksen. 100%. And obviously Højbjerg never got to play with him, did he, at Spurs? He left by the time he came. So he's coming into a very different Tottenham, Eriksen, as we've said before. So
if he comes, yeah.
If he comes, he's coming into a very different... we're in a very different stage than where we were when he left. So I think it makes sense for us definitely to want him, and I think there is a reason for him to be interested. I really believe that, and hopefully Højbjerg can work his magic.
Let's hope so. You know, there's a few different factors. You know, we've got Højbjerg and also Conte as well. So I think that both of them should have enough pull, as well as Tottenham being in the Champions League and going in the right direction as well. So
he's got a lot of friends. Dyer, Kane, Son, all still there. Lloris.
Yeah, but, you know, there's been links to Man United, and obviously there's the links between Ten Hag and Eriksen as well.
Yeah.
Are you worried at all that Eriksen could maybe pick Man United ahead of us?
I think there is a case for it, just if he could, because I think if he wants to try something new, and he wants to go to a massive club like Man United, even though they're not in Champions League, he might know he could be a star there, and he could take his profile maybe to a different level, and you know, I think Man United's such a big club, there's always that pull there. And especially with Ten Hag now, they're at the club, maybe they're going to play the kind of football he wants to play. So that's definitely, there's a case. But I think it probably makes just about more sense moving to Tottenham. But definitely, Man United could definitely put up a good case, and he could easily pick them.
We have heard that he wants to play Champions League football.
Yeah.
So that could be the deciding factor. But next up, we got quotes from Louis van Gaal on Steven Bergwijn, and he says, in the Netherlands, he scores, he gets assists. It's unbelievable. And then he goes back to Tottenham and never plays. I mean, Van Gaal is trying to shift him out to Ajax. That's the second quote we've had on him about Steven Bergwijn.
He's absolutely right.
Yeah, he's spot on. He is spot on. And it's something that I've been consistently saying throughout the season, to be honest. And I think, look, we've said it before, but I think it suits all parties now for him just to move on if he's not going to play. To be honest, it suits Bergwijn more than it suits us. But
apparently there's a quote here from Bergwijn saying, "Now is the time to leave. You could say that my suitcase is already packed. I cannot afford another season like this, and it's tough mentally too." All that just goes into everything we've been hearing about Bergwijn, what we've been thinking over the course of the season about how unfortunate it is how much game time he's been getting at Spurs. It's not just been under Conte as well, it's been under other managers who maybe haven't trusted him as much as they should have. And it is a big shame, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, especially second half of the season, he was kept out by a very potent front three. It was hard for him to get a look in. And now in a situation where he's spent another whole season pretty much not playing that much, off the back of under Mourinho, where he also struggled to get into the team. It's time, in his mind, he definitely has to leave.
Is it a bit different next season with 5 substitutes coming in?
Definitely, it is, but it's kind of too late, or in a way for him, because he can't risk it. He could be thinking logically in 6 months' time he's still not playing that much. He's like, why the hell did I stay?
Yeah,
he can't risk it, especially with World Cup coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, Harry Kane hits 50 goals for England last night with his penalty in the equaliser against Germany. Harry Kane is now the second highest England goal scorer of all time and only 3 goals behind Wayne Rooney. A few stats for you here. Tottenham striker Harry Kane has now reached 50 international goals in 71 appearances, in fewer games than Messi, who it took 107 appearances, Cristiano Ronaldo, who it took 114 appearances, Lewandowski, who it took 90 appearances, and Neymar, who it took 74 appearances. That is monstrous stats there from Harry Kane. And Harry Kane has now more England goals than every single player who has represented Arsenal since World War II added together.
That's incredible. That's mad, really. Yeah. What England players represented Arsenal? I can't remember.
The only one that comes close
Ian Wright?
was David Platt. And you can add David Platt in there, but the goals that he got weren't whilst he was playing for Arsenal.
Bloody hell. That just goes to show the quality of the man. He's going to absolutely annihilate Rooney's record. He's going to blitz it. He's going to get probably 20, 30 more goals.
It's going to be a record that no one's going to break for a very long time.
100%. Because he's on 50 now. He's 29 years of age. Let's say he could easily get another 20, 25 goals for England.
Agreed.
And it's going to be extraordinary. But yeah, what a man. Great penalty again. He was unlucky before. He had a few chances, didn't he? Which he missed. Which
I'll tell you the truth, I didn't watch the game last night.
He could have got a hat-trick, to be honest, yesterday. He should have really had one. He'll probably be annoyed that
I heard he played well, though.
He did.
Bellingham were our best players, I heard.
Him and who, sorry?
Bellingham.
Yeah, Kane was great. He was a thorn in Germany's side throughout the whole game. He was just unfortunate. Neuer was on top form, and his shooting boots weren't quite there until he got the penalty, and then he slotted it all confidently to as he does, to his left. He loves that finish
taker
as
in the
well.
world.
100%. I can't think of a better one. Maybe Ward-Prowse is a pretty good one, but I think Kane just so consistently finds the corners as well. He has a range. You could go any way, and he can find the corner.
Yeah.
He's just so good. Harry Kane. So I think, congratulations to him, 50 goals, and he'll probably beat it before he even goes to Qatar.
Yeah.
Yeah, the record.
In the next 12 months, do you think Harry Kane, well, maybe not the next 12, by the end of next season, by the end of the season finishes, Harry Kane will be Tottenham top goal scorer and England top goal scorer?
Very good chance. I think it's very likely that's going to be the case. He only needs 3 to be England, and then he needs about, I think, 18 or 20 goals to be Spurs. So very likely. I would say it's nearly guaranteed.
We're watching week in, week out, literally a legend before our eyes.
Yeah.
Before our very eyes. Back when, when he's retired and it's all said and done, we're going to be sitting there with our kids if we have them, or with our young family, and we'll be like, we watched Harry Kane play.
100%.
And that's what it's going to be like.
And it's just so funny. Do you remember, when he first broke into the team, he had those Jesus memes about him being the saviour, and everyone was joking because everyone was like, oh, he's not actually good, but he keeps scoring.
Yeah.
And now it's like he actually is the Messiah. It's
so
genuine. It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. It's crazy what he's done to himself, because coming through the ranks at Tottenham, nobody thought, he would be a regular for Tottenham, never mind to do what he'd done.
It's just unbelievable how far he's come. It still baffles me whenever I see him, how good he actually is. Mm-hmm. It's still incredible, but there you go. It should be a lesson for all young strikers.
Absolutely. But I think that brings an end to all the news stories we've got to you today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories we brought to you today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll be back very soon with some more content for you guys. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
There's actually...